But you know somebody who's just stingy? Isn't it more blessed to be around somebody who's generous? Isn't it a blessing? Which way do you want to be known? One of the things I never want to be known as somebody who's just an old stingy. I want us to be known as givers. I want us to be people who share the blessings of God, who are a channel of the blessings of God. I want God's blessings to be able to flow through me. And one of the things God's got to do in order to make that happen, He's got to trust me. He's got to trust that I will do that. God bless us. God bless us. Can God trust you if He does bless you? Hello? If you're just going to hoard it up, as some do, if you're just going to hoard it up, God may not bless you because He's trying to get it spread out a little bit. Hello? God's trying to help other people through you, but if you don't agree to that, then God says, well, I'll just stop that and give it to this guy over here because he'll be a channel of blessings. How about it? That's not all in the Bible, but it's pretty good theology anyway, isn't it? But God says that He loves a cheerful giver. That's something else I like to point out. If you're going to gripe about it, quit it. If you're going to grumble and complain, I gave, God said I ought to give, I don't want to, but I give. Yeah, just keep your stinking money. You hear me? If you're grumbling and you're squeezing George to death every time you put him in the offering plate, just keep your money. If you need the money more than you need the blessings of God, just keep your money. God doesn't need it. He paves the streets with gold. Hello? God doesn't need your money. You know what God needs? He needs your heart. He wants you to have a heart for Him. He wants you to have a heart for others. He wants you to have a heart that's kin to His heart. And our God is a giving God. And so when you talk about this thing of giving as being one of the pillars of stewardship, you've got to decide, do I want to be a giver or a taker? And we ought to learn to be givers. It's a life of giving that God wants you to know about. The second thing, He wants you to develop a love for giving. That's what Luke 6:38 is all about. Luke 6:38 says, do good to them. 38, I was in the wrong verse. Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give into your bosom. God will give you more than you can hang on to when you are a channel of blessings and giving. He wants us to develop a love for giving. Malachi 3:10 says, bring all your tithes and offerings into the storehouse, where God can bless and God can use and God can do things. In Luke chapter 2, there's another story, by the way, about giving in Luke chapter 2. And it's a story that we kind of need to think about. I'm often asked this question: who's the biggest giver in your church? I have no idea. I make it a practice, a strong practice. I don't know what anybody gives. I don't want to know, okay? I don't look at records. I don't about who gives what. Never. Don't even want to know. Who's the biggest giver in your church? Have no idea. Not a clue. But I'm here to tell you, it'll probably surprise you and me both when we get to glory and find out who it is. Because here's what I know. Jesus was standing by the treasury one day watching people give their offerings. There's a story of Charles Haddon Spurgeon, the great English pastor, who did this one day as the offering plates were being passed and people were giving. He just walked down the aisles watching what people put in. That'd make y'all nervous, wouldn't it? He just stood there and watched them. He says, and some of them eventually expressed their unhappiness with that. He said, why should it bother you if I'm looking? God's looking. The only reason it would bother you is because you know you're not doing right. Hello? Well, Jesus was at the treasury looking at what people were giving. And by the way, He still is. All right? But Jesus watched a little widow lady come up with 2 mites, which was a small amount of money. And she put it in. And Jesus remarked to His disciples, She gave more than anybody here. Now, wait a minute. We had a guy over here give a bag of gold. We had somebody over here give a great big check. And this little lady just gave a couple of coins. Jesus said she gave the most. How did he calculate that? He did it this way. He said they gave out of their abundance. She gave out of her need. Those people who gave a whole bunch, they didn't need it because they had more than enough. But that little lady who gave those last few pennies, she gave the greatest offering of all. Can I tell you the work of God has continued these thousands of years in the same manner? It's not the rich folks who have funded the ministries of God. It's the faithful people who give because God told them to give, because they want to be a part of the ministry, because they want to see God's kingdom advance. Those people who give cheerfully and love giving, those people are what spread the ministries of God throughout the world.